Maya's hands trembled as she clutched the worn leather portfolio, its edges frayed from years of carrying her dreams from one rejection to another. The morning rain had seeped through the holes in her shoes, leaving her feet cold and damp as she stood before the gleaming glass tower of Meridian Industries. Through the lobby's pristine windows, she could see her reflection, a young woman whose torn shoes and patched blazer told a story of struggle that she prayed wouldn't define her today. For 18 months, Maya had been sending out R.A. some A.copyright S, attending interviews, and facing the crushing weight of "we'll be in touch" responses that never came. Her savings had evaporated after her mother's cancer treatment, leaving her family's small apartment in Queens feeling more like a pressure cooker than a home. But today was different. Today, she had made it to the final round of interviews for a marketing coordinator position at one of New York's most prestigious firms. The elevator ride to the 42nd floor felt eternal. Maya pressed her back against the cool metal wall, watching the numbers climb while silently rehearsing her answers. She had practiced in front of her bedroom mirror until the words felt natural, until she could almost forget that her confidence was held together with the same determination that had kept her torn shoes functional for the past 6 months. When the elevator doors opened, Maya stepped into a waiting area that looked more like a luxury hotel lobby than a corporate office. Marble floors gleamed under crystal chandeliers, and floor-to-ceiling windows offered breathtaking views of Manhattan's skyline. But what caught her attention weren't the expensive furnishings, it were the other candidates. 33 of them, according to the receptionist's earlier announcement, all impeccably dressed in designer suits and polished shoes that probably cost more than Maya's monthly rent. They sat in leather chairs, scrolling through their phones with the casual confidence of people who had never wondered if they'd have enough money for subway fare home. Maya found an empty chair in the corner, acutely aware of the soft squishing sound her wet shoes made against the marble. She tried to position her feet under her chair, hoping to hide the visible tears in the leather and the makeshift cardboard she'd inserted to cover the holes. "Oh my God! Did you see her shoes?" The whisper came from a blonde woman in a navy Armani suit, her voice carrying just enough to reach Maya's ears. "I mean, I know this economy is tough, but seriously?" A ripple of quiet laughter spread through the group of candidates. Maya felt heat creep up her neck, but she kept her eyes fixed on her portfolio, pretending to review documents she had already memorized. She had faced this kind of judgment before, their subtle cruelty of people who confused their privilege with their worth. "Maybe she's here for the janitor position," another voice chimed in, followed by more suppressed giggles. Maya's jaw tightened, but she remained silent. She had learned long ago that dignified silence spoke louder than defensive words. Instead, she thought about her little brother Marcus, who was counting on her to help pay for his college textbooks, and her mother, whose medical bills kept arriving like clockwork. Their faces gave her strength. One by one, candidates were called into the interview room. Some emerged looking confident, others appeared deflated. Maya noticed that those who had mocked her earlier made a point of walking past her chair with exaggerated confidence, their heels clicking against the marble like a countdown to her own perceived failure. Finally, after 2 hours of waiting, her name was called. "Maya Rodriguez." She stood up, her damp shoes squelching slightly, and followed the assistant down a hallway lined with awards and company achievements. The interview room was smaller than she had expected, with a simple conference table and 3 chairs. Sitting across from where she would be seated was a woman in her 50s with kind eyes and graying hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. She wore a modest black dress and comfortable flats, a stark contrast to the power suits Maya had seen throughout the building. "Please, have a seat," the woman said warmly. "I'm Sarah Chen, CEO of Meridian Industries." Maya's eyes widened slightly. She had expected a panel of executives, not a one-on-one with the CEO herself. Sarah's gaze was direct but not intimidating, and she seemed genuinely interested as Maya settled into her chair. "I have to ask," Sarah began, leaning forward slightly, "you've been waiting for quite a while. How was the experience in our lobby?" Maya hesitated, unsure if this was a test. "It was educational," she replied carefully. Sarah smiled. "Educational how?" Something in the CEO's tone encouraged honesty. "It reminded me why I want to work for a company that values substance over appearance," Maya said, "and why I believe the best teams are built on character, not just credentials." For the next 45 minutes, Sarah asked thoughtful questions about Maya's experience, her ideas for marketing campaigns, and her approach to challenges. Maya found herself relaxing, discussing her volunteer work at a local community center and the grassroots marketing campaigns she had developed for small businesses in her neighborhood, a work that hadn't paid much but had given her real-world experience that couldn't be bought. "Tell me about a time when you had to overcome significant personal challenges while maintaining your professional goals," Sarah asked. Maya took a breath. "This past year has been the most difficult of my life. My mother was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer, and between her treatment and supporting my family, I've had to make sacrifices. These shoes," she gestured down with a self-deprecating smile, "are evidence of those choices. But every no I've received, every judgment I've faced, has only reinforced my determination to succeed, not just for myself, but for my family and my community." Sarah nodded thoughtfully. "And how do you think your experiences have shaped your perspective on teamwork and leadership?" "I've learned that true strength often comes from the most unexpected places," Maya replied. "The people who have helped me the most this year weren't necessarily the ones with the most resources, but the ones with the biggest hearts. I believe that kind of perspective is valuable in any workplace." The interview concluded with Sarah walking Maya back to the lobby, where most of the other candidates were still waiting. As they approached the group, Sarah's assistant announced that she had an important statement to make. The remaining candidates gathered around expectantly. Maya started to step back, assuming the announcement didn't concern her, but Sarah gently touched her arm, indicating she should stay. "Thank you all for your time today," Sarah began, her voice carrying clearly through the lobby. "After careful consideration, I'm pleased to announce that we've selected our new marketing coordinator." She paused, her eyes sweeping over the assembled group. "Maya Rodriguez, welcome to Meridian Industries." The silence that followed was deafening. Maya stared at Sarah in disbelief, while the faces around her registered shock, confusion, and in some cases, indignation. "But her shoes," the blonde woman whispered, loud enough for everyone to hear. Sarah turned toward the voice with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Yes, let's talk about her shoes." Maya's shoes tell a story of sacrifice, of choosing to support her family over her wardrobe, of maintaining dignity in the face of judgment. They represent the kind of values we want at Meridiano: integrity, resilience, and the understanding that a person's worth isn't determined by their possessions. She looked directly at the group of candidates who had mocked Maya earlier. Some of you spent the morning demonstrating that you judge people by their appearance rather than their character. That's exactly the kind of thinking we are trying to change in corporate America. Maya felt tears threatening, but they were tears of relief and gratitude rather than shame. Sarah continued, Maya, your interview showed me someone who understands that marketing isn't just about selling products, it's about connecting with people, understanding their struggles, and building authentic relationships. Your experience has given you insights that can't be learned in any MBA program. As the other candidates began to file out, some mumbling complaints about political correctness and reverse discrimination, Sarah turned to Maya with a genuine smile. I hope you don't mind that I made this announcement publicly. I wanted to make a point not just to them, but to our entire organization. We need more people who understand that success isn't about where you come from or what you wear, but about what you contribute and how you treat others. Maya finally found her voice. Thank you. I don't know what to say. Say you'll start Monday, Sarah laughed. And Maya, your first project will be developing a campaign about authentic leadership. I have a feeling you're going to be brilliant at it. As Maya rode the elevator down, still in shock from the turn of events, she thought about calling her mother and Marcus. She thought about how she would finally be able to contribute to the family's financial stability, how she could buy new shoes, though she decided she might keep these old ones as a reminder. But mostly, she thought about Sarah Chen's words about authentic leadership and connecting with people. Maya had spent months feeling like her struggles were a weakness, something to hide or overcome. Today, she learned they were actually her greatest strength, a bridge to understanding others and a foundation for the kind of leader she wanted to become. The lobby that had felt so intimidating that morning now seemed like just another room, its marble floors and crystal chandeliers no match for the power of recognizing genuine human worth. Maya stepped out into the New York afternoon, her torn shoes carrying her toward a future that finally felt as bright as her determination.